All right, welcome to the Explainer. In the world of EdTech, there's this hidden time bomb that can completely wipe out an entire year's revenue before you even know what hit you. So today, we're going to diffuse it. We're going to show you exactly when that clock starts ticking. Okay, so here's our game plan. First up, we're going to get in sync with the really unique EdTech sales clock. Then, we'll dig into the massive cost of getting that timing wrong and why so many companies fall into that trap. After that, we'll uncover the huge advantage of bringing in a strategic partner, and we'll wrap it all up with a practical blueprint so your team is always ahead of the game. All right, let's dive right in with the most fundamental rule of the game, the EdTech sales clock. If you want to win in this space, you have to completely throw out your standard business calendar, because in this world, everything, and I mean everything, has to line up with the school year. So check this out. This timeline really lays it all out. You'll see what I mean. The real work actually starts way back in the fall, August through October. That's when you're staffing up and getting prepped. Then that rolls into winter, where you're training and mapping out territories. And get this, all of that is just the warm-up act for pipeline development, which has to kick off in January. Why? Because it's all building towards that one critical, can't-miss-it buying window in April and May. If you're not ready then, well, you're waiting till next year. And I really want to hammer this point home, that spring window is completely non-negotiable. If your team isn't out there building those relationships and running demos by January, you've basically already missed the boat for the whole year. In EdTech, timing isn't just a detail, it's a hard deadline with massive consequences. Okay, so what actually happens when you miss that deadline? I mean, how bad can it be? Well, the cost of being late, it's not just some minor oops. It's this massive domino effect that can literally take down your entire year. The financial hit starts piling up almost immediately. The research shows that just delaying one key sales hire in the fall can cost a company $150,000 in lost opportunity in the first quarter alone. That's a staggering price to pay for an empty seat. And that's just the start of it. If that delay stretches out across the whole sales cycle, that initial loss balloons to $1.5 million in forfeited revenue. We're not talking about a small slip-up here. This is a seven-figure disaster, all from a simple timing mistake. But honestly, the money is only part of the story. The damage goes so much deeper. When you start late, you're immediately on defense. Your competitors are out there building relationships while your team is still on the bench. Then, when you finally do hire someone, you have to rush their training, which pretty much sets them up to fail. And then it all starts to spiral. Missed quotas, team morale tanks, and you can forget about accurate forecasting. It's a vicious cycle that's incredibly hard to break. So this all seems pretty obvious, right? Start early, don't be late. So if the stakes are this high, why do so many really smart companies trip over this, year after year? Well, let's break down the common pitfalls. It almost always comes down to a few classic mistakes. A lot of leaders just don't grasp the academic buying cycle. They think hiring in winter is perfectly fine when they should have started back in the fall. Others just totally underestimate how long it really takes to find, vet, and properly onboard good people. You mix that with internal budget holdups and a super competitive market for sales talent, and you've got yourself a perfect storm for starting way too late. Okay, so we've seen the problem, we've seen the storm clouds gathering. So how do we fix this? The answer is all about shifting your mindset, from scrambling and being reactive to being strategic and proactive. And honestly, a specialized partner is the absolute key to making that happen. Now, when I say strategic staffing partner, I'm not just talking about a recruiter. Think of them more like a specialized extension of your own team. Experts who are already living and breathing the EdTech world. They're not starting from square one. They already know the players, the compensation norms, and most importantly, that critical academic calendar. They manage the whole hiring process to make sure your team is ready to sell at exactly the right time. And when you put the two approaches side by side, the difference is just night and day. Traditional in-house hiring is often this slow, plodding process, pulling from the same old job boards. But a specialized partner, they hit the accelerator. They bring speed because they have an active network of proven EdTech talent ready to go. They bring deep expertise that lowers the risk of a bad hire. And they give you the flexibility to scale up or down, something a rigid internal process just can't do. It's all about being faster, smarter, and way less risky. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? Let's build the blueprint. This is your operational game plan for absolutely winning that spring sales season. Okay, here's what that ideal timeline looks like in action. Step 1. You launch recruitment in the fall. While everyone else is still in planning mode, you're already interviewing top talent. Step 2, your new team is fully onboarded and trained by the end of the year, totally ready to go. So by January, they aren't learning, they are doing. They're actively building pipeline. This means when that prime selling season hits in April, your team isn't just getting started, they're already closing deals. And look, this isn't just about crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It's about data. It's about measurement. You should be asking these questions. How fast are we actually filling these roles? How quickly is a new hire getting their first sale? Is our pipeline volume growing ahead of the spring rush? And the big one, are we hitting our quotas? These are the numbers that prove your proactive strategy is actually working and paying off. So if there's one thing you take away from this whole explainer, let it be this. It's time to completely reframe how you think about hiring. Getting your team in place in the fall isn't just some task on an HR checklist. It is a core revenue-generating strategic decision. It's arguably one of the biggest strategic moves you can make all year. So, we've walked through the risks, we've seen why things go wrong, and we've laid out the blueprint for success. Now there's really only one question left for you and your team. That spring selling season is coming fast. Are you really ready for it?